Paratopia. It's a sad day, a forlorn day. Jeff Ritzman has passed away.
Oh, shut
No, wait. There you are.
Yeah, I've passed away.
Jeff, why are we doing a duet this week and not having a guest?
I don't know. I think we should. Well, I mean, I wanted to kind of have a little discussion about something I don't guess a lot of shows talk about, which is the impact on studying the paranormal like we do, and putting the effort into looking at all this stuff, and then what it ultimately does to you personally, to your life. Being as engrossed in it as we are, I think that I think we've held on to semi-normal lives, but I think ultimately your life does pay a price, does it not? Do you feel like you have? Do you feel like your life has paid a price for this?
I feel like I can see it that way if I want to see it that way. But if I do see it that way, then that creates a nightmare for me.
Then you're out.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, I won't be leaving. Jeremy will be exiting the show tonight.
No, I mean, there's no way. I'm not even talking about the show. I mean, I can't leave my life. Like, I've got this energy that's active in me, and
right.
So for better or for worse, as far as I know, that's there perpetually, right? So
yeah, sure.
There's no turning back now. So I can't afford to say that was a mistake. You know?
Right. I mean, but do you think that your personal life has suffered at all before, with this stuff, or your professional life, and I mean, you're a writer, so I mean, writers are allowed to be weirdos. So are artists, so we're lucky in that respect. But
yeah, no, I don't think so. I mean, I certainly have not been rejected for jobs or anything like that because of this.
Right.
As far as I know, and no, I would say nothing so damaging that I walk around with it and go, God, this is ruining my life. I mean, there have, of course, been moments, there have been spats with family members and arguments with friends and things like that. But, if it wasn't this, it would have been something else. I mean, I can't say it was extraordinarily bad for me. Well,
I actually have to say, I think, part of this epiphany came for me when I went to a high school reunion this past weekend. And I think it was, and this wasn't like your super duper official high school reunion. This was more like a clique, people from my gang, getting together in the upstairs room of this restaurant / bar in Baltimore. And, I just kind of, in talking to some of them, seeing that, some of the guys and girls that I went to school with, I don't know, in these what seems like really good lives. I mean, they're all doing very well, and they have children and, their own jobs. The one guy I used to hang around with, he now has a business where he basically chases geese off of people's property with dogs. I mean, that's a pretty cool job. I think that'd be pretty neat. Go get him. Yeah. But it kind of like, when I left there, I was kind of like, it's kind of like this solemn thing for me, because when you really don't see people for 25 years or so, and then you reconnect with them, it's like you really feel your age. You really feel like, man, this is going by. I mean, this life thing is happening. I don't think you recognize that so much in daily life as you do, seeing people you haven't seen in 25 years that you were ultra tight with in high school. And it was just this really, weird experience. And then, I just came home and I sat for a while and I started taking stock of, what I'm doing and in the art world, and what I'm doing at work, and what I'm doing at home with the family. I mean, it's like being involved in all this. I'm either watching or reading or doing the show. And I realize, I work until 7 p.m. at night, and then I come home, I do that, and I go to bed. Eventually you realize you're spending very little time doing anything else. And for me, that's when I notice it, that's when I say, this is the point where I need to take a break from this and focus on my artwork, doing, building guitars. If that's what I'm going to be doing, then that's what I'm going to focus on. And spending time with Lisa and Cody and and doing stuff. I mean, the boys picked up bass guitar really well. I want to play with them. It's like, I mean, this is the kind of stuff that I just want to be able to come home and take hours upon end to do. And, and I made a pretty good splash with the guitar thing there for a while. And it's like, I got hired away from that to a new job. It's a high pressure job. It demands a lot of hours and a lot of I guess any creative person is going to understand when you do something all day and then you come home, it's not like, boy, I can't wait to create some more. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm done.
Right.
So it's like, and that kind of thing is like debilitating to somebody like me who has all of these ideas floating around in his head all the time and can't ever make any of them, bear fruit. And it's like, this is just what I want to do for, I don't know, the next X amount of weeks. I just want to take them and do life things. And I think, that's essentially the crux of it. I mean, when I notice that I'm spending an inordinate amount of time doing stuff and focusing on this stuff and even interacting with it to a certain degree, and I won't say that any experience has been, debilitating or I mean, it's nothing like that. This is just more knowing that I'm 42 years old and, I've spent more of my life doing this than not doing it. And it's like, is it so bad if I take two months or something and just do what I want to do for a while? I mean, I don't think that's such a bad thing.
No.
Just to kind of like recenter things, and I think George Hansen ultimately is right when he says, that people who study this for years on end and are involved with it for years on end, that your life, your personal life, at least for my money, seems to take a back seat. And you, I don't know, you come to this kind of weird place where you go, hey, guess what? This is really important stuff, but there is other things to do. There are other things.
I feel like that's for me, because I don't have a family, that happens in any situation I'm in. So that when I was working at MTV, that became my life, and
right.
That, of course, those are all people my age, so it was easy to have a circle of friends that are your age, and you end up hanging out with each other and being cliquey and all that. So that became my life when I was doing that. You know what I mean? And this becomes my life when I immerse myself in this, because I don't have anything else to then step out of it and go, oh, there's my wife and my child.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think I'm used to that. I think I'm okay with that. It's funny. If you had asked me in high school how I am with this stuff or college, I would have been like a suicidal wreck.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think it, I don't know. I think it might bear differently on single people than married people. I don't know. Maybe, you just realize that, I don't know. Maybe it was just one of those things where it's just like going to a funeral. I guess a funeral could have equaled to the reunion kind of epiphany for me. It's like, hey, everybody's getting older. Nobody lives forever. What are you doing? I love studying the paranormal stuff. I love talking about it. I love doing this show. But I also love to paint. I love to airbrush. I love to build guitars. I love to spend time with my family. I love my wife. I love my son. And it's like you realize that, at a certain point, at least for me, it feels like those things are taking the back seat while the other thing seems to dominate. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of like how I felt about it. And I'm like looking at all my classmates and going, man, we all look okay. We're okay. But it's like, damn. And there were a couple of people that I found out at this reunion that I didn't know had died. And, and that too is like, just kind of one of those things where you go, can I not take a couple of months and just do life stuff? Yeah, I should. And I am. And really not more or less ignore this stuff for a while, because I need to get, I don't know, you feel, I personally feel like I just go completely out of alignment for a while, with this stuff. It's like I lose a sense of, I don't want to call it obsession, because it's not really obsession, but it's more of a, like you're consumed by it in some way, in that it tends to take up a lot of your time and a lot of your thought process. And in a lot of ways, that's beneficial to me because it does make me think deeper. It does make me think more complex ways, which is good. I think ultimately that's good brain food, but it's what's going on while the focus of your intention, it's what's going on behind you that seems to be lacking in certain ways,
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I did. And I did this a while back because, some stuff in ufology actually scared me, and I walked away from it for a number of years. And I certainly don't want to do that again because, as I said, it does interest me. I do love looking at it. I don't always love interacting with it, but be that as it is, that's going to happen regardless. But I don't know. I mean, it's just one of those things where I know when it's time to kind of step back and take stock of what we're doing, and there's even stuff that I've been wanting to do for this show, like get our new website done, get our files transferred so we can have all our episodes up. And it's like, when am I supposed to have time to do this when all I'm doing is coming home, eating dinner, and falling asleep in the fart chair? I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, I seriously think that Paratopia has been a huge success, and I want to see it keep going, and I want to expand some. I mean, we've talked about doing listener blogs, and we've talked about doing listener-submitted video work and all that kind of. I want to do that, but it's like, I don't know. You can't do everything and then spend time with your family and go to work and have a job and pay bills and all of that stuff. I mean, there's just, I don't know. Maybe it's that I want to do too much with my life, but the paranormal stuff just seems to consume a lot of time. I got an email from Mark Nesbitt, and this was probably the first time that we had really had any kind of dialogue since our stay over, because they had to finish out their season of tours and all of that, and just to let you know how much time you can suck up with the paranormal. Here it is. He says, "Hey, why don't you stop over Saturday, and we'll go over what stuff you guys found at the vigil that night and so on and so forth." And I went over there. I think it was like 1:30. I left at 7:30. I mean, it was like, I mean, we just burned up the time like no tomorrow. I mean, he and I just talking and talking and talking, and so, you can burn up an afternoon in short order. And that's just a good example of how quickly time can just blow by you. And think about doing that. I mean, pretty much every night of the week, I'm coming home, I'm cracking open either something you've given me to read, either the Krishnamurti stuff, or I'm cracking open an old UFO book, or I'm reading some of Whitley's stuff, or I'm watching documentary stuff, or I'm hunting through old files that I've had that I think might be pertinent to what we're doing. And I don't know. I mean, the only way I can explain it is that it does take up a lot of time, because I've gotten a couple of cases from Above Top Secret to look at that I've been doing, and writing for our newly founded associated content outlet. I mean, I want to do all that stuff, but it's like,
we want to make them the anti-examiner.
Yeah. And that's and that's pretty much what I'm doing, which is, I think, what is it, next week we've got an interview that we're both going to do, and then the weekend after that we've got another one we're both going to do.
So essentially, you'll be here for those 2 months.
I'm really not doing anything.
To be clear, so because we've sort of been going on without any real context, Jeff is taking an unspecified amount of time off, but intermittently coming back to do episodes within those maybe couple months. But we're not going away. I'm going to have guest co-hosts during that time.
Right.
So there you go. So look forward to not just surprise guests, but surprise co-hosts as well.
And they may decide that while I'm gone that, hey, guess what? Paratopia is better off without him.
No, actually what will happen is everyone will be like, we miss Jeff. We hate this. They'll be comparing them to you every time.
Well, I mean, I mean, like I said, it's not that big a deal. I guess I'm making it sound a lot more dramatic and awful than it is, but it's just taking a step back for a couple of months and smelling the roses of life.
Right.
That's really it in a nutshell. So I'm sure the paraturds will all be rejoicing that I'm separating myself from you. If only for a couple of months.
So, yes, I'm sure.
Oh, my.
Yeah. Yeah. The plaster casters over on that other show's board will surely have a conspiracy theory as to...
I'm sure.
Maybe you've become more grounded and you've seen the light away from my airy-fairy new age hucksterisms. And
because you're a nut and I don't want to be associated with you anymore. That's it. Right. No, that is decidedly not it. Although this week has been a little weird because we haven't really talked on the phone that much this week. I mean, very short periods, and then I come home and fall asleep.
That's the problem right there.
Well, it is the problem. You
were really sick for like 2 weeks, and then tired. So basically, you're sick and tired.
Well, yeah. I mean, now, I think my sleep pattern's really screwed up because I am up late usually, doing stuff, and usually not the things I've listed, not painting, not drawing, not any of that, just up thinking or watching stuff, or again, it's just like I need to just back off and sit with an airbrush in my hand for a good 3 hours a night and go to bed. And I'm also changing my entire diet, which is another thing that's got me.
You are? To what?
No Pepsi, very little in the way of nicotine tablets. I'm down to like 4 or 5 a day now. Except for the reunion, which I went hog wild and nearly made myself sick with them. Just really trying to go to bed at a decent hour, just try to be normal, not living every night like a frat party. It's like, maybe that would be good. Maybe it would be good to sleep and not get up and open the refrigerator and get a piece of cold pizza out, shave, shower, shit, go to work.
I don't know what about that will be good, but okay.
Well, it's... I've been trying to eat my vegetables, and Lisa's been shoving broccoli down my throat at regular intervals. So, it's all of that. It's about, just trying to get my life centered a little bit. And it's not just the paranormal stuff. There's been other issues that have just kind of come to light, and diet, exercising, eating right, eating normally. All that stuff. It's just, my life is just, it's so compounded with so many different things and so many different things I want to do that I don't do what I'm supposed to do. And that's what I'm trying to do, is just kind of recenter myself in some sense of normalcy. And again, I'll point out, I wasn't like this when I was away from this subject. I didn't eat stupid. I didn't get up and go, hey, you know what is a great option for, instead of oatmeal, peanut butter candy cakes. I didn't do that back then because I wasn't staying up until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and all that kind of stuff. So that's essentially it. It's not that big a deal. I'm not going to be gone that long, but it's just, I want people to know that ultimately this stuff ends up taking a toll one way or another. And at some point, everybody should be taking some sort of break from it, including you.
Thanks, Dad.
Really, I think when you begin to take on the appearance of John Belushi is when I feel you should most take a step back and reassess your values.
That would be a step back from unemployment, is what that means.
Oh, okay. Is that it? So aside from that, so I'll still be around, but I'll be infrequent. Let's put it that way. I'll be infrequently absent for the next couple of months.
Very good.
But I will be working on, when I come back, launching the new site and all that good stuff. So there's much to look forward to.
Cool.
I'll be talking to Jeremy every day still and all of that, so I'll still be bugging the hell out of him.
Yes.
But he's going to have control of the show for a while. So I'd like to put a disclaimer in here that my views are not necessarily represented by anything Mr. Vaeni may say or
Watch
do
me
on the show.
destroy this show. I can't wait.
When I come back, I'll be like the guy in Walking Tall. I'll be carrying a 2x4 and no shirt. And that can't be good for business, and that can't be good for anyone. So, anyway.
Well, in our time here, what do you want to talk about? Should we? I just have some random things that I wanted to, I don't know, address, or not really even address. It's not that drastic, but just I wanted to point out that today Whitley Strieber on his Facebook said that he has bought the URL for 2012theparty.com, and that on December 21st, 2012, he wants to throw a huge virtual and real party, which I think is hysterical, and I'll be there. If I remember, I'll be there.
When are we going? I mean...
Yeah. So we should do something like live from... Yeah, I mean, it's funny, 'cause it's December 21st, so it's not New Year's. So it'd be funny to do like a live from New York and a live from Maryland, and like, do reports of what it's like on the street, and there's, nobody around because it's not really New Year. There's like just nothing going on.
That would be good. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that Twitter post or whatever it was where he said he bought that. So that'll be a party. Everybody kind of sitting around staring at each other, waiting to evaporate. I mean...
I also wanted to thank somebody, I think their name was Corvus, who's someone new to our forum, who basically said that listening to the show has changed his or her mind. I don't know. Everyone's anonymous on the internet. But that listening to the show or that we've opened his mind, and is starting to see all of this stuff in a new way. And I just want to say cheers to that, because I feel like that has been...
That's the goal.
That's the goal, and you don't know that's the goal until you hear it. Like, of all the compliments that we do get, to me, that's the one that's like, wow, we really are affecting people. And I guess I mentioned this because, last week we did the Barbara Three Crow episode, and I threw in at the end, well, now I want to have you tell your, after telling the Kogi story and some of her background, tell the story about the blonde who comes into your art gallery with a box and, does this strange sort of trippy thing. And basically, I mean, my point, my setup for that, in saying that a lot of people need to be grounded in something in order to believe it, and for some reason they find that less new agey than, for instance, out-of-body experience or talking about crystals or whatever.
Right.
Is just to be aware of how you think about things. Like, I think it's really important to be aware of, and as if to prove my point, after a couple of posts where I started to feel guilty because they were like, the posts were basically saying, I don't know why you threw that caveat in there, because we didn't find anything that you guys were talking about new agey. It was a great episode, blah, blah, blah. It then sort of devolved into, one conversation of people who were like, wow, that blonde story was amazing. And the other, the people who don't understand indigenous thought and just think that I'm suffering from liberal guilt by even bringing these topics up, or at least that's my takeaway from that type of conversation that we were having on the forum. It's like, there it is. That's exactly what I was getting at, It's like, why are we so restricted, even on a show that talks about throwing out the box and opening your mind and thinking outside and all that stuff? Why are we still restricted in some ways to having to think of, even in terms of the Western mind, like it's okay to talk about these alien things so long as it's real to us, and what makes it real to us, unfortunately, is still nuts and bolts aliens on the one hand, but what really trumps that and what really makes it all real is fear. And if you don't have a story that's fear and or nuts and bolts grounded in some way, then a lot of people just can't handle it. And then you have these indigenous people who say, yeah, we live with this, or yeah, our minds are completely working differently than yours because we come from a different place. We come from the heart, or, in the case of the Kogi, they, hole up their young for 9 to 18 years, whichever. I mean, she had said 9, and then I saw something else that said 18.
I saw that too, yeah.
It sounds disgusting. It sounds horrible to us.
I mean, do they have a fire in that cave or what? I mean, is there any lights?
But that's the thing. Who knows? Like, how do we know? We don't really know. All we know is what we've been told, and that's going to be the surface level of what's going on. And
right.
To us, that sounds disgusting, but to me, Miley Cyrus dancing on a stripper pole on top of an ice cream cart at the Kids' Choice Awards on Nickelodeon is disgusting. So, to each their own.
That's just us, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
so I mean, my point is that when I say like, okay, and I'm going to include you in this. When we say to question the way you think, it doesn't just mean from within your own terms. I mean, you've got to really break out of your own terms. There's a big, broad world out there with all sorts of people coming from a place of rationality and a place of heart and a place of this, that, and the other. And it's time to step out of that box too and just look at all of these different points of view and see what rings true in them and what doesn't, but not from our culturally biased perspective.
Yeah.
And definitely don't hide, just on another note, behind saying you feel guilty. When the world is going to hell in a handbasket and it's definitely somebody's fault, ours, that has nothing to do with guilt. That has to do with taking responsibility. If you don't feel empathy for the people you're mowing over, if you don't feel anything about killing your own self and your own kids, which is eventually what we're going to be doing, then that makes you a psychopath. I mean, there's no other way to say that. That's not a conservative, liberal issue. That's a psychological, you have problems not seeing people as objects issue.
Right.
And I'll be bringing more of that attitude when Jeff's gone. Oh, wait, no.
That's great. That's great. Paratopia, what? No, I think I think even from the most simplistic view of people talking about the Kogi, it's like I was talking to somebody a couple days ago about that show and about these people and what they do and how they see themselves as more or less like caretakers of the planet. That's that type of thing. And I don't know. I don't know if you could call it a hardship when you are sequestered for 9 years, if that be the case, in a cave. It's just the way it is, And the guy says, well, where do these people live? I said, they live on this mountain. I mean, it's like, and they've been there they've been there forever, and they really are insanely spiritual people, and refer to us as the younger brothers or the little brothers, and we're the ones that are fucking everything up, and they're the ones that are trying to fix it. And we've got to the point now where they don't know if they can fix it anymore. And some of them believe they can and should keep doing that, so on and so forth. And this person says to me, what do you think they eat up there?
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? Thank you. And I walked away because it proves my entire point. I felt like saying, I don't know, there's probably a Burger King down the road or something. I mean, the idea of most people, I think, in Western society to think about a tribe like that is so completely alien to them because they live in a house, they go to the grocery store, they get their food, or they go to a restaurant, they get their food. They go camping, and they take everything but the kitchen sink with them. They take a big kitchen apparatus and some kind of wet sink and, and all this. And it's like, if they had to stay out there longer than their rations held out for, well, they're fucked. They got to go home, right? Climb in the Tahoe, kids. We got to go back. For these people, this is all they've ever known. So when you want to talk about living in an alien world, that's it. You can live right on Earth and live in a completely alien world. These people live in the wilderness. They are, and I truly believe that is their hugest connection to the Earth, is that they live in nature, just like the Native American peoples did, just like hundreds of other tribes probably have done. But to us, that's such an alien concept, to live in nature and grow your own food, kill your own meat. The whole bit is just so completely outside the sphere of so many people that to try to get into the deeper aspects of that culture just forget about it.
Well, and then
they can't get past the food thing.
And then you want, well, geez, and then it becomes that arrogant thing of, well, if they have something real to say, why don't they just say it? Why don't they?
Right.
Someone said, "Come assimilate into our culture." It's like,
oh yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Come, be fucked up with us.
You insane?
Yeah.
I mean, and it takes a lot less time to just turn off the computer at that point than try to explain to somebody what seems to be obvious. But so, I tried a little and then I gave up because there's just no point. But I don't know. It's a weird thing of, again, I mean, I just want to get back to this issue of really it's cultural racism, and it's probably accidental. Like, I don't think it's a conscious act necessarily, but I think you see it when you think of it this way. Jeremy, and here that's me, is crazy. I've got a crazy energy in me, and I can project outwardly this stuff that's inside of me. I figured this out. And I can tell you all kinds of crazy stories and all of that stuff. And presumably because you follow the show, you believe me. And you believe me because I speak the same language as you. Now, if these people are or any people are way more advanced than that with their craziness, then and I tap into that, I'm going to tell you about it. I'm going to be like, wow, guys, I went to the Aluna, and I met the Kogi, and I met aliens, and I saw angels, and all of this stuff. And I'll say it to you in a way that you will, again, understand and believe, because I'm, at heart, a rational person, I think, or at least a pretty clear person when I speak. And so I'll give that to you, and you will relate to it, and you'll believe me, because you do. If I'm the Kogi and I say that, oh, all hell breaks loose. Who the hell are they? What do they know? Blah, blah, blah. So does it really take me to break through to what they're doing for it to be real for you? I mean, it just makes no sense to me. I mean, this is their way of life. This is what they've been doing for hundreds or thousands of years or whatever.
Yeah.
Why are we not taking them at their word, but you'll take me at my word? That's
that leftover Euro. It's that leftover Euro trash ideal of savages.
Well, right. As soon as you say tribe, as soon as you say a tribe of people, what comes to mind? I mean, it's like Danger Island from the Banana Splits or something.
Yeah, backwards, unevolved, primitive people. That's what comes to mind for most people, I think, is primitive, steeped in superstition and mumbo-jumbo,
And there may be superstition and I mean, it's not to idealize a society. Like, I don't idealize any society. I don't say they all have answers in every quadrant. I mean, I think everything is holistic, right? And so you can be unevolved in some ways and evolved in others. And I think it's pretty clear that the Kogi, from anything I've heard and from watching that documentary, are spiritually evolved. That doesn't mean they're evolved in their rational capacity. They haven't invented the car, for instance.
Right.
But so what? What does that mean? It's not like they need to invent
What's it mean? What's it mean? They dodged a serious bullet. That's what that means. You know what I'm saying?
But we take like certain things for granted as better than, and they're not better than. They're just what we needed for the. As soon as you invent shoes and pavement, all of the rest of these quote unquote needs follow. If you don't invent those things, then you don't need to invent all of this other structural stuff.
Well, like you say, you put a tribesman and a Westerner in the woods, and you, like you just said, give them soles on their shoes and a road, and the Westerner will go, progress.
Right.
And the native will go, nothing good can come from this. I mean, that's just the way it works. I mean, and it's not hanging on to old ideals. It's that, I think they can clearly see that our way of life has not worked exactly to the benefit of everyone, whereas in their society, it probably does. I mean, their society probably works pretty well. And what I watched was up on our message board, somebody from the TED conference, talking, somewhat about the Kogi and the fact that all of these cultures are dying out, and that's a problem, and why it's a problem. And he very well received. Really, I mean, a great speaker too. I mean, he really he really laid out the case for these cultures disappearing, and why it's a bad thing, why it's not good to lose this kind of whatever they know. I think ultimately everybody benefits from that somewhere down the line, and the thought of losing a lot of these people is not in our best interest, I don't think. So
there's that.
There's that.
Well, I just want to say, I guess I just want to throw in one last bit, which is because somebody had brought up the fact that they seem like they have gender roles, patriarchal society with gender roles. And it's like as soon as Americans hear that, we think the worst, we think sexism and all that.
Right.
But that's our stuff, that's our issue. That's not... There are some gender roles that can be healthy. I know nobody likes to hear that, but there are societies that do that. And it's not the same as, say, Afghanistan, where women are oppressed and blah, 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 due to some religious interpretation of a book. These are like agreed upon gender roles based on the ways of the masculine, feminine that they see in nature,
Right.
So I think that is completely different. One is like delusional sick, and one is a natural outgrowth of observation. That you can give or take. It's not a good or bad. It's they've agreed upon it, and therefore it's just fine.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just like you got to get out of your head that way, and then also with all this stuff in general, with now I posted a thing that actually Ted Rose sent me because he likes to monitor what Michael Sal is doing and send me stuff for fun. And Sal was always into the most new agey, hippie, trippy crap. And this guy, I think his name was Bracco from Croatia, who looks like Fabio.
Okay.
And his whole thing is he stares at you, and you, the middle-aged woman, presumably, feel a tingly sensation and then a healing. So his whole job is to stare at you. He comes out on stage and he just stares with a sort of, not really a smile, just sort of a neither here nor there look on his face. Much like you would expect
Dare I ask,
from a model. Yeah.
Dare I ask, where do the cougars tingle?
I think you know the answer to that.
Oh my God!
So this is
what are we doing on this show?
Well, right. I mean, why aren't we bottling that? Well, Jeff and I will stare at you for $100. Well, and it's even worse than that because apparently he does this. He'll do this online through webcam, and some of the people say that it's not live. So you're paying for a pre-recording of Bracco staring at you because you think you're going to get some healing out of that. That is what I mean by new age woo. I think that's an example that we can all see is complete crap. That doesn't mean that everyone who has a positive experience in life or doesn't need medication for depression is a fraud. You see? Because I think that there's this whole sect, and the show that will not be named certainly promotes that you basically have to be clinically depressed to be authentic, to have any emotional authenticity to you. And I think we're seeing now with what's going on with David Jacobs, one of their favorites, that this is becoming troublesome. I don't know if you've been following this, Jeff.
Yes, I have.
Emma Woods, who I'd love to get on the show, but obviously she doesn't want to do any show right now. She's thinking of taking legal action against David Jacobs because he has allegedly, we'll throw that out there, implanted in her the hypnotic suggestion that she has multiple personality disorder and that he doesn't believe in alien abductions and that his next book is going to be about that. And so he said all of this to her while she was under hypnosis, according to her, because he believes that through her somehow, I don't remember what the backstory is, but that the aliens might figure out that he's on to them. And so he's trying to throw them a hypnotic curveball. So the next time they read her memory, they'll see David Jacobs. They'll be tricked by this, these brilliant aliens. They'll be tricked by this, and they won't abduct Jacobs and erase his memory, eat him, whatever it is, because he knows too much. It's like, are you insane? And the answer is yes. If that's true, you are insane. And I've heard the hypnosis tapes, and I don't know any other way to construe that. I would love to hear what Jacobs' backpedaling will be. I'd love to hear what his
I don't think you'll hear. I don't think you're going to hear any. I think he's just going to fade away. I really do.
Well, I think if this became a legal issue, that would be amazing, wouldn't it? Well,
yeah.
But here we are again. Yeah. You've got this guy who is, I mean, when you think of someone who promotes only fear and quote-unquote nuts and bolts, as nuts and bolts as hypnotically retrieved memories can give you, you think David Jacobs. And now he's succumbing to this. I'm sure George Hansen is, like, masturbating thinking about this.
Sorry, George.
Sorry. The trickster. There it is. The trickster.
Yeah. Well, there it is.
So lots of boxes to think outside of.
That's why I'm taking a break. I'm not going to be that guy. I'm out of here for a couple of months. See you around, No. I mean, hey, you know what? It's like I heard Phil Klass years and decades ago say that all of these people using this regressive hypnotherapy garbage one day will wind up being sued for what they're doing. And now it's starting to finally happen. Not that it probably hasn't happened before. It probably has, but not to any of these pinnacle researchers, I can't say I'm surprised. I can't say that it was like, oh my God, really? No, I can totally see it. If it's all true, I can completely see that being the case. This is precisely another reason why it's good to take a step back, because you know what, Jeremy, let's face facts, at least in the ufological end of things here. I don't think I've ever seen it so retarded. I mean, really, have you?
Wait, Rahm Emanuel just got in trouble for using that word.
Well, I don't mean it in the sense.
But now you do.
No.
Neither did he.
Cut that
out.
Ahead. 3, 2, 1.
I'm just kidding.
I mean, really, I don't think I've ever seen... I mean, you tell me if I'm wrong. Have you ever seen, in ufological terms, anything so ridiculous as ufology is these days? I mean, really? I mean, it's reached a plateau level of I almost said it.
Of retardation?
Yes, I'm sorry to say that.
Is. Well,
it is.
If you define retardation as mental challenge, as most of us do, then yes.
Just completely off the skids is the way I'm looking at ufology these days. It's completely off the skids. I mean, it's ultimately, to me, it's just like my head just wants to pop. I'm so sick of it all, And Ted Phillips, somebody wrote me about Ted Phillips today. Why is his website down? I said, I don't know. There's a couple of things I could surmise, but I'm not going to, say publicly what I think of that. But I mean, I feel like there's a guy who was grounded, who was good at what he did, who's been doing it for decades, longer than anybody else, for that matter. I mean, and now I feel like he's gone. I mean, he's gone. The reasons behind it, I have no idea. But Marley Woods, what's going on there? We don't know. I mean, all these great things are coming up, and they're just slipping through the fingers here. What is going on? Nobody seems to think critically about any of this shit anymore.
This is just it. I mean, you've got... I hate to pick on Michael Salla. No, I don't. Michael Salla, once another brilliant article someone pointed out to me, was the one... And I put this on the forum. I don't even think you saw it yet, Jeff, where I said, Jeff, we need your photo analysis stat.
Uh-huh.
One of the speakers at this horseshit conference he's a part of
Don't hold back.
is doing analysis on this photo, and they show the photo, and it's a photo of an alien, Jeff. It's a photo of an alien that they show. And the photo is basically Randy Quaid in ball-hugging shorts with a small tree from Home Depot in the foreground and some tall trees in the background, and we're supposed to believe that this guy is something on the between 8 and 10 feet tall, and therefore an alien. And it's just a human. It's just a dude. Are you fucking kidding me? I mean, this is the stuff that's like, Flash, this just in, aliens captured.
Where is this? In UFOs and aliens?
No, I actually put it in breaking news as a joke.
Oh, breaking news, eh? continue to discuss this hilarity whilst I look.
I think you just need to see it for yourself.
Michael Sala is a shameless whore, you right?
Yes, well, I'm a fan of pulling punches.
I performed extensive analysis of this photo, and in my professional opinion, this is real. Sincerely, Ella Harris. No, actually, Wonka 3. Little joke there.
Yeah, please, give us your professional analysis of that photo, Jeff.
Well, it's a guy.
Right!
What the fuck is he talking about? And you people wonder why I need a couple of months off?
I don't think anybody wonders.
Are you absolutely shitting me?
I wish I were shitting you.
It's a guy. It's a guy. He's got Van shoes on. And he looks like he's drank a little too much beer. What? I mean, what?
But
it's
really
a picture
tall.
of...
See that small tree in the foreground? He's really tall. I mean, why not put Matchbox cars at his feet and say he's Godzilla? Picture of Godzilla found.
That is, without question, the most ridiculous, stupid thing I've ever seen in my life. I mean, ever.
Enjoy your
alleged photo of E.T. to be analyzed by Professor Breccia at upcoming conference. What are you going to analyze about that? It's a dude. There's nothing special about this man. This looks like any snapshot anyone could take in their backyard of a man with his trees. It's a shrub in the foreground. Am I missing something? I mean, am I looking at the right thing? He's wearing a gray shirt.
That's it.
And like shorts.
Yes. Read the article.
No. No, I won't. No, thanks, really.
Well, I just want to get to that. I mean, maybe that's accidentally a photo of the guy who's going to analyze it. Which would be great, too.
Well, goddamn, I would hope. Professor Stefano Breccia led a distinguished career as an electrical engineer and taught at a number of universities in Italy and Europe before his retirement. According to the professor, some of the extraterrestrials were over 8 foot tall and allowed themselves to be photographed. In early January, he will travel to the U.S. to prevent. We would hope he would prevent it, but present evidence for this remarkable conclusion. He's a keynote presenter at the annual Earth Transformation Conference. Please remind me not to go to that. That brings together pioneers in new science, alternative healing, human consciousness, and extraterrestrial contact. Alleged photo of E.T. to be analyzed by Professor Breccia.
Right. That's what it's a dude says. What's really priceless is the comment section. This is all at theexaminer.com, by the way. Let's give them a plug because they produce some really, really fantastic stuff from the likes of Michael Salla and Alfred Weber. If you ever need a good laugh.
From Jeremy Vaeni? Wow, I never thought I'd see proof of alien contact in my lifetime, but here it is. I always suspected Randy Quaid was one of them. Shame on the Examiner, it says here in the comments.
Someone actually said something
if that mofo is 10 foot tall, then how the hell does he blend in? This is so retarded. He looks 6 foot. 6 foot. That guy is 6 foot. I say he's about 7.
My favorite one is someone saying, why did they erase my post? Michael Salla gets to say whatever he wants. Why can't I?
James says, so why is there nothing in the photo to indicate size for comparison? A normal-sized person, a car, horse, dollar bill, anything verifiable? Anything? No, James. It's a dude. Vince Flynn says, rolling on floor laughing. How come the shadows of the trees go one way and his shadow goes another? Doctored. No, Vince. It's a dude. Buffett says, that guy's going to be annoyed when he finds out somebody put his holiday photos online and people think he looks like an alien. Goddamn right, Buffett. Go tell him. Question Authority says, he looks pretty big, pretty, Pritty, and sort of strange. Well, Jeremy, you wanted my professional opinion of this photo?
Yes.
Here it is. This man is alleged to be over 8 feet tall. Am I correct in that assumption? It says here, over 8 foot tall and allowed themselves to be photographed.
Yes.
Where'd he get the stylish clothes?
The Big and Tall Alien Store.
The Big and Tall Alien Store, that's correct. and by the way, the pants fit him perfectly. And, well, I don't know.
I don't know about perfectly.
Well,
a little something going on in that crotch area.
Well, I'm not going there. It's ridiculous. And that's, again, no one need wonder why one must take a step back every so many years from this stuff, because you hope and you pray to God that you come back to this and somebody has bitch slapped all of these idiots and said, what are you doing?
But these are the people who are throwing conferences. These are the people who are getting
CNN
awards from Stephen Bassett for lifetime achievement of horse
fuck
shit.
wit. Yeah.
And then for some reason they end up throwing conferences in Europe and getting David Hasselhoff reception because people maybe see them on CNN or whatever and think that they're the real deal. And they're not. They're just full of shit. That's what happened to the field. I mean, at least the field used to be. It used to be the people on TV meant what they were saying. Like, whether you agree with Kevin Randall or any of those guys, they at least had to memorize some facts that they believed in about MJ-12 or NASA footage or whatever.
Well, let's say what we've really learned in the past 10 years about ufology, that it used to be, back in the day, maybe, in most cases, I would say, that when you saw the alphabet soup after someone's name, PhD, Professor Emeritus, Professor, whatever this, whatever title they would, allot themselves through education or higher learning, that stood for something. Nowadays, it don't mean shit. They're just as batshit as everybody else. Professor anything doesn't mean squat to me anymore. PhD after your name doesn't mean squat to me. There's PhDs who believe in the Meyer case. There's a professor with a distinguished career in electrical engineering who thinks a dude in a pair of fucking shorts and Vans is an alien. I mean, these are people allegedly of accomplishment.
Right.
And look what they're doing. And here I am. I'm just a fucking artist with, just, I guess, enough subjective work in imaging that I know what I'm doing. And if I go to argue against Professor Brucky or whatever the fuck his name is, I'm shit out of luck because he's a professor, distinguished, retired, and I'm just a guy.
Right.
It used to mean something when you had that kind of title. And we're learning slowly but surely, I hope, that this doesn't mean anything anymore. I mean, PhD after your name doesn't mean shit in this field because people like this, will take your PhD and wipe their ass with it and come up with crap like this, which unfortunately, puts people like Dr. Bruce Maccabee in a bad light because
here's the thing.
Has earned his stripes. He has the higher education. He is a brilliant man. And the same title could be applied to any number of fuckwits out there in ufology. You know what I'm saying?
Think here's the difference, is that before, back in Maccabee's day, you had a bunch of letters after your name and tackled this subject because people in academia rarely did, and they were brave, and it's almost like if they were brave enough to step forward and do it, they had to kind of be good at what they did to do it. And now it's like, the difference is that now this guy, an accomplished electrical engineer, that there's another part of that sentence that begins with, until one day. And that's what it's turned into with all these guys.
He ate too much fruit. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's...
Dr. Stephen Greer was an accomplished emergency room physician.
Until one day.
And then we don't know what the rest of that sentence is.
Right, exactly, yeah. I mean, I can't believe I'm looking at this picture. I expected to see a guy with a mask or something on, or a rubber doll. This is a guy in his backyard. I mean,
at least when Paula Harris presented alien children photos, they had like kind of pointy ears and pretty skin.
Right.
This is just your uncle out in his backyard mowing the lawn, and you snapped a photo and said it was an alien.
Or it's Chet from next door showing off his pruning of his pine trees. Look what I've done. You know, it's Chet. God, what, Chet, alien? Really? 8 foot tall? He's not even 6 foot tall. What are we talking about here? It's painful. It's painful. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. Although I must say, this is light years beyond any other ridiculousness that I've seen in quite a long time. I mean, folks, this is worse. This is worse than Billy Hubcap Meyer, as far as I'm concerned. This is worse.
Yeah, because at least making the model. God, I hate to even defend Meyer in a jokey way, but at least
at least you put in the effort.
Yeah, at least making the model, you had to make something. This is just the guy this is the equivalent of the guy who stares at you and you feel healed, Bracco. This is like that type of laziness. Put some effort into your con artist. You're artists. A little less con, a little more artist.
No, they're not. They're just stupid. I mean, it's just stupid. I mean, really. I could take this picture of my front lawn tomorrow. I mean, it's just...
One-way ticket to that conference.
I just, and it makes me cry because people on January 7th through the 10th, 2010, which it's already happened, people paid money for this.
We're treated to this.
Treated, yeah. Now, I'm going to show you something here that hasn't been seen before. It's Chet from next door showing off his pruning of his small bushes in his yard.
What is the title of this so people can look it up? What is the title of the article?
Italian professor to reveal evidence of extraterrestrials among us.
By Michael Sala at Examiner.com.
Honolulu Exopolitics Examiner. Written September 29th at 7:02 a.m. So he not only wrote this tripe, he got up at 7 a.m. to do it. That's even more heinous to me.
Well, when you live in Hawaii, you're up, believe me.
I tell you, my jaw is hanging in the air, as our friend Terrence would say. I can't fucking believe it. I mean, rarely do we engage this stupid shit on this show, but what is that? Jeremy is holding up yes, it looks like it's an alien rubber doll that is looking like it's pleading for us just to stop. Just stop. Please stop. I think my professional opinion is, what?
You said your catchphrase.
Good Lord.
Well,
you've been looking extraterrestrials, having lived in several underground bases in Italy from 56 to 78. Where do you get the clothes?
In Italy. So he could be related to the little girls that Paul Harris has the pictures of. Because I believe those were Italian as well.
Just makes your head hurt. It makes your head hurt.
What are they putting in the water in Italy? Jesus.
It makes my head hurt.
Well, it's a rough economy, and they got to make money.
Yeah, but Chet from next door? I mean, really? Hey, Bob, stand over by this tree. Let me take a picture of you. Yeah, all right. What are you, checking out a new camera? Click. I got me an alien. I'm aghast. I mean, you want to know why Jeff's taking a couple of months off? Just take a look at this article, please. That's part of it. That's part of it.
So I've helped you in your decision.
Yeah. I'm not coming back. I'm done.
Oh, wait a minute.
What am I doing here? I don't belong here. No. I mean, that's a really extreme case from a really extreme guy. And, yeah, as he says, the little alien Jeremy's hand says, hands off. This is ridiculous. No, I mean, really, this is the kind of stuff that will beat you down, just because it's so absurd. I mean, really. And I look at, I'm pulling up right now, AboveTopSecret.com, which oddly enough, as much as we feel sometimes that that the patrons of that message board are not always so critical, some of the stuff lately has been a little better.
Yeah, I was going to say, lately, they've been, it seems like, cleaning up their act.
A little bit. We still have Alien Baby and Dumpster, and UFO appears during the movie The Blues Brothers.
That old chestnut.
Yeah. And, the Terra Papers, Hidden History of the Planet Earth, now online. Quick, get your copy before the aliens take it down, or the government. I don't know. Someone asking, does anyone else see ET ships above their city? No, but obviously you do, and you should go take a nap. So, it just, after a while, what do you do? What do you even say to that? I mean,
I was watching what you call the daytime TV today.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Steve Wilkos show, as I'm prone to watch. And he had on this guy who was convinced that his wife was a prostitute because 2 years ago he was outside smoking and he heard his wife and his best friend talking, and he thought he heard the guy say, "Remember that night I pimped you out?" Or words to that effect. Pimped you out was the key. And ever since then, he's been convinced that his wife was a hooker. And so at night he would set up little cameras and traps and shit to try to cap.
What?
He would beat her. I mean, it got really bad, where it was like, turned into this awful abusive relationship. And so he's on the show, and she takes a DNA test to prove that the kid is his, and a lie detector test. And she passes both of them, and he has no reaction. And he says, "Well, I don't care what that test says. I know what I heard. I know what I heard." And that's where they leave it. This guy, clearly delusional. You might not get that. They did a little sort of videotaped, beforehand, sort of set up to the story with him, and you would think, oh, just kind of a normal guy, until you get this part, and then his certainty has become mental illness, essentially.
Huh.
And I think maybe that's what we're seeing with the UFO field, when no answers are forthcoming, and you're so certain that your answers are correct, you just start making them up and believing what you're making up.
Yeah. And right now, the woman from that daytime TV show is in a tight leather miniskirt leaning over into the cab of a Ford pickup truck somewhere. I'm just kidding.
Ironic that.
No, I think you're right. I think it's just reached that state for me of like critical mass. I mean, you look at this and it's just more ridiculous every day. And, this picture that's the cherry on top of the shit sundae. I mean, that's really what it's become. And I don't care how many gold standards of paranormal radio there are. It's not going to work. It's not. There's nothing going here, and because you find out sooner or later that if you're critical and you think about this with any kind of complexity, or you explore different venues, you find out you're in the frickin' minority. And I do believe at some point people will drop away from it just from sheer ridiculous factor and come back wiser for it. I have to believe that somehow or another that's going to happen, but I've watched it the past 10 years just go steadily down, 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 down. And this exit politics crap is like the critical mass ingredient here, and the whole thing's just going to implode on itself. And oddly enough, it's not just UFOs. There's plenty going on the ghost stuff right now too. That Jeremy and I watched a show called Extreme Paranormal.
Extreme.
When he came to visit me, and in one scene they're in an old prison, and they find a spot where a man was set afire during a prison riot, He was knocked unconscious and then set on fire. And they found the burn mark on the floor where this man was. And they said, well, in order to call his spirit, we have to outline him in chalk and set and use some type of flammable gel and set his facade on the floor on fire. And when that didn't work, one of the members of the team said, I've got to do a blood ritual. And so he began cutting himself to bleeding and then wiping his blood on the floor. And what you may not have noticed when you watched this wonderful piece of primetime television was that he was rubbing his fingers on a prison floor and then rubbing them into his open wound. This is the intelligence level of some people involved in the paranormal. You know, and I wrote this, and I think at some point, this is kind of the other side to the coin of what you're talking about when you say the people providing these stories have lost it and are just making the stuff up. I think the unfortunate part about it is, much like I wrote this thing up for Associated Content that was about paranormal TV and how we have Ghost Hunters and we have Ghost Hunters International and we have all of these different shows, Paranormal State and Psychic Kids and Ghost Lab and some of them good, some of them not good. But I sit there and I look over the whole landscape of this stuff as a whole, and you see really clearly that when Ghost Hunters started off, they had a good, month of shows where they didn't catch anything. And I thought, wow, how are these guys staying on the fucking TV when they're not catching anything? But it spoke to the credibility of the show that they weren't going to make anything up. If you don't get anything, you don't get anything. And with the popularity rising in the show and all of these shows, all of a sudden, every week, they're getting some sort of evidence. So the amount of evidence that they gain seems to reflect how popular the shows become. You think that's a coincidence? Really? So I think at the end of the article, what I said was, we need a show that asks deeper questions and starts to go in different directions than the standard byline of all these shows is, this is real. Yeah, we get it. What else? But the fact that week after week we sit and we watch with wide-eyed amazement at these people trouncing around in graveyards to old ships to prisons to houses in that same electric neon green hazy night vision camera doing the same thing week after week, and we're all just fucking enthralled by it. I think that says something about who these people who are just making another program or in Michael Sala's case, just putting up more bullshit, is that there are people who will subscribe and watch. It's almost like we want to be fooled or we want to be insulted in some way with this stuff too. It's almost like people are they have this desire to be lied to or a desire to believe the fantastical no matter how ridiculous it may look. It's like, I don't know where that comes from.
Maybe it comes from not reading.
Or a desperate need for an answer. I'll believe anything. Just give me something, Well,
no, I'm serious.
What's so wrong with mystery? What's so wrong with saying, I don't know what this is?
Well, but
what's wrong with that?
Maybe it comes from lack of reading, lack of religion. Maybe it's just an offshoot of those things that do create the mystical or get your imagination going or give you a sense of mystery.
Yeah.
Maybe when you take those things away, it's like every man for himself.
I guess. I guess that's what it boils down to. I don't know. But I know we don't do a lot of, and I know we're getting towards the end of the show here, but I know we don't do a lot of those kind of hit shows, or if any, that we've done.
Yeah,
now, but we do have someone coming on who is ultimately qualified to talk about regression hypnotherapy. And we're going to let him go. And I don't know, he's made it really clear to me that he finds very little common ground, I think, with us on any of the paranormal issues. Mm-hmm. But we're having him on strictly to talk about regression hypnotherapy and what he thinks of it. And this is a guy who is not a history professor or an artist. This is a qualified professional to come talk about this and give his take on it. So, we've got that coming up. I'm going to be in for that one. But, hopefully we'll do more of those, where we kind of go back to where all this crapola in this field started and start kind of clipping away I don't know. I think we did a little bit of that with the ghost stuff with Rob Beck when we were talking about the geological effects on consciousness, via limestone, running water, that sort of thing. I think that might have percolated a little bit, but something like regression hypnotherapy is like a big deal when it comes to experiencer accounts. So I think having this guy on is going to be, I don't know, kind of going back to the roots of where some of this crapola started, and maybe help to, I don't know, thin out the nonsense. And maybe if we do enough, God knows, I think the Crop Circle show had a nice ripple effect, or Crop Circle shows, rather, that it's more than about hoaxing and is it real, is it not real, with all of that. Hopefully we can have that same ripple effect go through this whole notion of regression hypnotherapy being the end-all tool to try to recover memories from any sort of alien, quote-unquote, encounter. So anyway, folks, I will be intermittently absent, but everybody, in the meantime, have a good rest of winter. And, a couple of months it'll be starting to get a little warm, and I'll be back into regular rotation. But I think the next couple of shows I might do, and definitely the regression doctor that we're going to have on, I'll be doing that one. But I think after that, I'm just going to take a short respite and get some stuff done. So I leave you in the hands of Jeremy Vaeni. Don't fuck up the show.
It won't be on purpose. You've seen what I've done to the message board while you were away.
Don't fuck up the show.
Right.
Hey guys and gals, it's Jeff here with a message about Mark Nesbitt's Supernatural Summit, February 19th through the 21st, 2010. This is unlike any paranormal conference you've ever been to. In fact, one of the reasons it's so innovative is that you never leave your home. You attend this online. This is a virtual conference. You can be anywhere in the world with net access, and from a home PC, a laptop, right down to a cell phone, you can attend this gig. You can ask questions live to the presenters, interact with different exhibitors. Every aspect of an in-person conference is there. This is over 50 hours of presentations and interactions with paranormal investigators, authors, and exhibitors, right down to your fellow attendees without the travel cost or hotel expenses. One of the best parts, after this whole thing is over, you've got 4 weeks to watch recordings of the lectures you may have missed during the live event. You're not going to miss anything but the hotel bills, the travel nonsense, and of course your missed work time. There's also exhibitor booths where you can shop from home for books, DVDs, and even investigation equipment. So you're not even missing the tables you normally see at a conference. Some of the presenters, some of the best out there: Rosemary Ellen Guiley, Scott Crownover, Lane Crosby, Dr. Charles Emmons, Rob Conover, John Zaffis, and even the dear friend of this show, Mr. Mark Nesbitt. And that's just some of the great presenters you'll be able to hear and interact with. Now, here's the deal for our listeners. You're saying, what's this cost? Well, the cost, if you mention Paratopia and register before February 15th, the cost is $50. That's $25 off the regular admission for the whole conference. Now, in addition to the discount, Mark's decided to do something even more special for our Paratopia listeners. Again, go to www.supernaturalsummit.com. Mention Paratopia when you register. You'll not only get the discount, but in addition to that, you'll be automatically entered for a drawing to win a night's investigation with Mark Nesbitt and me, Jeff Ritzman from Paratopia. So guys, head on over right now, www.supernaturalsummit.com. Get registered. Again, the date for this is the 19th of February through the 21st of February. Go check it out, www.supernaturalsummit.com.